And a little thing we're going to do here a couple times a month, we get our legal experts in here. A lot going on. It's just ridiculous. It's like we shouldn't need Colin Amos to come in the studio and talk about legal stuff, but we do. And especially today's a good day, too, because AP in court. And Colin, of course, is from Goldberg Jones. First of all, good afternoon. How you doing?
I'm doing great.
Well, thanks for joining Rags and the guys in the huddle. Yeah, Perkins, last night on Twitter, it blows up that Stephen Collins commits suicide. There were shots heard at his house. The cops had to go there, beat down his door, and he wasn't even there. So, TMZ, everybody blows it up that he might have committed suicide. He didn't. He's all right.
This is why TMZ still has zero credibility.
Well, this is also why Twitter, is the dangerous
How many
world.
People have died via Twitter? Like,
yeah,
no one would be alive in Hollywood if they
Facebook.
actually went off, Twitter deaths.
So it's just an unbelievable, disgusting case. And, Colin, I wanted to bring up Stephen Collins real quick here. Supposedly, supposing you had a client that got caught like this. She got a tape of him admitting that he molested some teenage girls. And that they're going through a bitter divorce, part of the reason why she recorded them. Is there anything you could say or do for your client at that point that can he save face or possibly even win a case at this point?
That's a great question, but the reality of it is, if you're the attorney representing that client, horrible situation.
Right.
You tell them to shut up.
Yeah.
That there's really no place you can hide in this situation. So if you just shouldn't be having those open discussions, and it's counseling and it's recorded off the record, so to speak. But at this point, it's really trying to figure out what the true story is. I mean,
sure.
We don't know much about the situation. As your attorney, I'm guessing that attorney probably is figuring this one out for the first time too, because there's attorney-client privileges, but clients, understandably, there's some dark secrets that you have. You don't just walk in and say,
sure.
"Oh, because you're my attorney, let me lay it all out there and tell you this one."
You ask for full disclosure, you rarely get it, right?
And that's why sometimes at court you're standing there and your stuff comes out on the stand from the opposing counsel who does some cross-examination, and you're looking at your client going, "Why didn't you tell me this stuff?" So I'm sure that the attorneys are now trying to figure out how to handle this. So they're going to lock down this case. They're going to look at that recording. They're going to figure out and make sure that it's authentic. They're going to talk to their client. They're going to get some criminal defense experts in there, because our divorce is going to be stopping in its tracks, because now we have you can't have him testify. You can't have a deposition.
It's crazy.
So yeah, he's on lockdown.
What's that saying about a woman scorned? Right?
Oh yeah, don't mess.
Yeah, you don't want to mess with that. All right, so let's get to some sports issues here. Obviously, AP goes to court today. They've got a date, December 1st. I want to ask you, Rusty Hardin. When you see Rusty Hardin, is that like, oh, every lawyer wants to be Rusty Hardin, or do you get a dirty feeling like I do when you see Rusty Hardin?
In this particular case, you hear him talk about it, and aside from this incident, Adrian Peterson is quite the incredible individual. Mm-hmm. That one, it's a tough one. It's a tough one to be that attorney in that position, having to deal with a pretty tough situation. But we don't really know everything. Unlike the Ray Rice, where we got a video and everybody got a view, we don't know what's going on.
How incriminating are those pictures, though?
They're not good.
Right.
And it kind of goes to the issue with regard to corporal punishment. They say it's legal in certain states. The reality, it's not legal. They say that you can do it if it doesn't. There's no intent to commit harm, and if there's no marks. The bottom line is it's an old school method. I got my whoops on the butt, but that's
is that his defense at some point though? Is like, look, does that hold up? I'm disciplining my son, or is there a point? I mean, what's the law where you went too far? Is there a certain point where a parent has gone too far to discipline their son?
That's why I say there's pretty much no corporal punishment anymore, because they say, yes, it's legal, but in our estimation, whomever that is, whether it be the investigator, the detective, the grand jury, that says, oh, no, there was a mark, that's now abuse. That's why it just is not a tactic you should use at all.
We're talking with Colin Amos from Goldberg Jones, and in this case, they're trying to get the judge out. Because apparently he made a comment about the lawyers being media whores. Are they going to get him off this case? Probably not, right?
Probably not, but it is odd that you got the prosecutors who usually are in there all the time with the judge that are trying to recuse the judge and making that special motion. Usually the judge would recuse themselves if they felt that there was bias. Maybe he's wearing, Vikings helmet to court every day. Who knows? But so it's unlikely, but it's not going to be a distraction. Judges are pretty objective. They really are trying to find the right answer, and they're going to let the jury figure this out.
You need any advice, specifically on divorce? It's an easy phone number to remember. What's that phone number again, Goldberg Jones over there?
It's a 1-800-DIVORCE.
It's hard to forget that one. Now, you got Roger Goodell in front of the press, and it was kind of a low-pro kind of deal this time around, though.
Right.
He's talking about the comprehensive dialogue concerning the ways they can tackle the big issues that are facing the NFL right now and the leadership going on there. Now, suspending with pay, is that good for the NFL to do, to kind of just like, you know what, we're going to take care of the problem. We don't know the whole situation right now legally, but you can't play. We're going to suspend you with pay. Is that a smart move by the NFL?
I don't know how smart it is in light of the recent developments and the focus that's come on domestic violence. The problem is they got players' unions, they got contracts, and you're making summary decisions that might be correct later.
Sure.
But you got to let that criminal process play out, because if you make an arbitrary decision or what you think to be the truth, and it finds out that he's innocent or there was just a scorned wife.
What kind of recourse does the player have at that point against the league?
There's a contract dispute, and you say, hey, you wrongfully took my income, my endorsements, everything away without giving me an opportunity to find out what the truth is. So I think there's a process that absolutely has to happen for everybody involved, and that player needs to be given the benefit of the doubt. Especially when there's an arrest, you have the prosecutor, you have the evidence, they're going to investigate. The player cannot defend themselves because they can't say anything to anybody, otherwise they're criminally, could cause problems with them in their criminal case. So you have to let that play out. And so I don't think they can just step in and arbitrarily take away pay and.
Well, that's their own. They're their own law, right? That's the scary part. That's the scary part.
But that contract dispute with the players' union, now the players' union has to step in and defend all these people, saying, "Hey, we think you were premature in making that decision."
417-7575. We'll take your phone calls about the Sayreville situation, and Colin is kind of filling people in if you haven't heard about it. They've got this hazing going on in high school football, where the kids are really taking it to the underclassmen and literally. To in lewd conduct kind of ways. My question to you is, when you get to a point like this, does a parent of the child that's getting abused, does he or she have a case against the school or the head coach? Can they do something directly to the head coach and or school, or is it just strictly the other player that may be doing it?
Well, I think you'd find that pretty much all these lawsuits are going to implicate the school,
right?
Because there's a supervision that's necessary in those situations where it's more widespread, which this seems to be.
Yeah.
There's.
Can they come after the coach at some point? Is he directly? He's a supervisor at that point.
He's going to be implicated with the suit of the school. Now, the coach independently doesn't have a deep pocket. They don't really care about the coach. They're going after the school where the deep pocket is. But the reality of it is, it's a supervisory position, and the school / the superintendent / the teachers, PE teachers, whomever's involved and has had an opportunity, maybe even witness this behavior, know about it, because kids aren't quiet, especially with Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and Snapchat and all that stuff. And so the coaches got to be nervous. They got to do a better job of supervising their students and their players.
Does Twitter posts hold up in court? Do you present that kind of stuff? And
there's authenticating it, meaning that you have to make sure that
the right IP address, the right person, the actual person typed it in.
There are lots of programs there that says, hey, I can get you in trouble by texting myself, making it seem like it's coming from somebody else. So after they authenticate it, it can be very damaging and usable in court.
All right, what's going on over there at Goldberg Jones we need to know about?
Just saving a lot of lives. I mean, there's a lot of people that have tough situations and going through tough circumstances, from the kind of the stuff that you're talking about to lighter situations, and you just need to educate yourself and make sure you're doing the right things moving forward.
That's why I trust those guys over at Goldberg Jones. GoldbergJones/OR.com. Is that where we should go?
Yeah.
Sure. Or 1-800-DIVORCE.
You can 1-800-DIVORCE, GoldbergJones.com. We got Seattle office. Portland.
So that's just the Oregon one. All right, well, cool. Well, thanks for coming in. And we kind of run out of time here, Colin. I'm fascinated by Derek Jeter getting married. So the next time you're here, and he's marrying a supermodel, maybe, I just want to know what goes in that paperwork for a prenup. So go prepare something for next time you're here, because I don't think they'll be getting married by the next time you come by. So that just kind of, and athletes like him, what goes into that kind of stuff, and people that have money, but maybe the other spouse makes more money, or it's a tie.
Yeah, they better protect themselves.
Yeah, you better believe it. All right, GoldbergJones.com. Thanks for stopping by. He's our legal expert, Colin Amos. Thanks for coming in and taking the time, because I know it's a long walk from across the street.
It was great.
From across the street.